Here, the soccer show. I'm Giancarlo Lino, joined as always by John Nelson of OSG Sports in Atlanta, and Carmen Asako, who'll be joining.
In theory.
Uh, in theory, John, how you doing?
It is transfer deadline day. It is a national holiday in England, and they're all trying to figure out who they can get at the last minute to try to fill up their coffers before they change their minds in January. Is Mo Salah going to be leaving? He has apparently left the training ground at Liverpool. And it appears that Al Ittihad has offered $150 million for Mo Salah to go. Liverpool has maintained that Mo Salah is not for sale. Quoting the $1 million man Ted DiBiase, what, Giancarlo?
Everybody's got a price.
Exactly. So that is where we are right now. Is it 150? There's talk of it being 200 million from Al Ittihad, and they would pay him in the neighborhood of £1.5 million a week. 78 million pounds to walk in the door, a big bonus up front, massive contract. And right now, we're waiting on was that the last practice? Was it the last practice of Mo Salah dealing with Liverpool? Is he going to Al Ittihad? That is probably the biggest question of the morning. Is Mo Salah leaving? And that's where we are. We have until, I'm trying to do math, I think 6 o'clock Eastern time tonight before we figure out who's going where, who's doing what, and is Mo Salah leaving to go to the Saudi Pro League? That's the biggest question that we've got right now that we'll be keeping an eye on for this entire afternoon, sir.
And do you think this could be Liverpool maybe raising up the price even more and take a run at Mbappe, or you think that ship has sailed?
I don't think Mbappe is Real Madrid. I mean, Mbappe is going to sit with PSG. Because we got into this with the whole Saudi Pro League thing with him, where the Saudi Pro League was just interested, hey, we'll rent him for a year. Dude, you can go to Real Madrid. We just want you for the year. He is so dead set on Real Madrid that it's the whole idea of uprooting your family 3 times in a calendar year. It's like right now you're living in, you're living in Paris. Then you'd have to uproot to England. Then you'd have to uproot to go to Real Madrid after only a year. I mean, because even if he did go to Liverpool or whomever, by the way, Chelsea has cleared $1 billion in fees since Bowley Clearlake has taken over. They have sold folks. Don't get me wrong. They have sold folks. So it's not just $1 billion out and nothing coming back. They have sold folks since Bowley Clearlake have been in. But yeah, they cleared $1 billion with the Cole Palmer deal, which was north of $50 million to get him from Manchester City. So I think that initially the PIF, the Saudi public fund, came in with $100 million. They're like, how about 100 for Salah? They were like, how about 100? Liverpool's like, nah. How about 150? Nah. And then Salah leaves practice. So, is it 150? Is it closer to 200? I mean, we haven't heard anything north of 150 yet this morning. But did they put something in kind of, like, hey, it's we said 150, but we can go up a little higher. It's like you sit there and it's like, you tell you what, like, I got my wallet right here. What did we say? We said 150, right? Yeah, I think we could. Yeah, I got my platinum. I got my black Amex card here with the credit limit that's all over the place. I tell you what, if I got my Amex out, we said maybe 175. We don't make it public. 175, 200. Would that be cool with you? That's where I think we are right now. Literally, it's like, what do we do? You've got a lot of deals that are on the table. But according to, and like I said, I'm keeping one eye on Sky and one eye on Peacock because Peacock is going to be showing the Sky Sports Deadline Day show that they always have. So from noon Eastern until 7, this is a plug because I'll be locked in all day. If you've got Peacock, Deadline Day show, noon to 7. Right now, front page header on Sky Sports on their Deadline Day ticker. One source has told Sky Sports News that Al Ittihad are prepared to go to £200 million to sign Mo Salah. They've had the bid with 150 rejected, and they say he's not for sale. But going back to our original point, everybody's got a price. And for Liverpool to take that $200 million and invest it and go into another direction entirely and bring in more talent where you could bring in probably 2 or 3 dudes that could help you along, that could help Jurgen Klopp turn this roster over a little bit. I think that, once again, I think that it's going to get to a point to where it's almost too irresistible where you can sit there and go, you know what, we really could do some work here. And Mo has been a great soldier for us, and he's been a great talent for us. And maybe it's just time, to let him go to this frontier of the Saudi Pro League. By the way, Saudi Pro League. Have you seen any of the games? Do you care about the Saudi Pro League, Giancarlo?
I've seen on YouTube highlights of Ronaldo scoring. That's about it. I don't know what the games are, what time they're on, who the distributor is. No idea.
I think it's FS1, FS2 here in the States. I don't know if One Soccer or anybody else is dialed up, but I have that much interest in the Saudi Pro League. That much interest. I have less than that much interest in the Saudi Pro League. I have no interest in watching any of those matches whatsoever. I'm not even going to watch the half-hour highlight show. But that's where we are. Rejected 150, probably closer to 200 by the time they're done. Sky says, yeah, Al Ittihad can go up to 200, meaning the Saudi government can go up to 200. And I think that the greater picture is, I think that the Saudi Pro League is going to come out of this well either way. If they sign Salah, great. You got your number one target. If you don't, you're also sending a shot to everybody else about, hey, if they're gonna shell out $200 million for a dude, maybe I can get some of that. So you know that they're going to be attracting players one way or the other, if the deal goes through or if it doesn't.
Yeah. And
by the way,
on that note,
you see who's in an office?
Yeah. Welcoming Carmen Asako. Looks like he is at York University. Am I right there, Carmen? Yeah. So getting ready for another championship season down there in the York Lions office. Carmen, what do you think of Mo Salah possibly leaving Liverpool and going to the Saudi Pro League?
Yeah, I think it's part of the Liverpool transition right now. Not really, like John said, I'm not really bothered, and I think they should use that money to invest into that next generation. And if it's something that he wants to do, then yeah, And then you have a player there that kind of comes off the bench, plays every second game, in Diaz, who could probably grow into one of the world's top players if he gets playing all the time. And yeah, he's going to have some lackluster moments and some brain farts, but I think that it's worth the investment, and $200 million reinvested in the game, in the team and in the players. I think that makes a lot of sense.
And do you think that Liverpool would right away have other plans in mind? The deadline's fast approaching. Do you think they have players already verbally committed, or do you think they'll hold this out until January?
Yeah, I don't think they have anything right away right now. I don't think Liverpool is one of the teams that's in a position to fight for the championship. And I've been proven wrong many times, but I think that they're looking down the road. I think they're looking at not a rebuild necessarily, but an improvement through young players as well. And they just signed a very good young player from Bayern Munich who's going to make a difference right away, or if not right away, in 2-3 years, I think he'll be a top midfielder. So yeah, I don't think there's anything right away that needs to be done. I think their blueprint with 200 more juice boxes, 200 million more juice boxes might prove to be very valuable to 5 to 4 years down the road.
I agree there. And John, do you think that they should be targeting star players in their prime right now, or do you think Klopp should go in that Dortmund approach that he had all those years ago?
No, I mean, you're seeing it, and this is the key here: finding those markets where you can sit there and go, okay, where can we get bang for our buck? Right now, a lot of folks are going to South America. And obviously, if you fork over, if Al Ittihad and the PIF want to fork over 200 million, you've probably got a little more wiggle room and you can chase after those guys that are worth 50 or 60. And you can get 3 of them and still have 20 million left over for operations. So I think that you're benefiting more from the price tag and your cash out at the register more than anything else. If it was a lower price like the Gravenberch deal, you're looking for someone. I mean, literally, you could get 6 Gravenberches for a Salah right now, and so you can afford to do some shopping and figure out what you want to do with that money if that is in fact what it's going to happen. 150 to 200. You don't necessarily have to look in those markets where the underappreciated assets are, although you would be building your future by looking for those younger players in those underserved markets or those underappreciated markets when it comes to the sport. You're shopping in South America, maybe you're shopping in lower divisions someplace, those kinds of things. But when you've got 200 million, you've got a little more wiggle room to bring in 3 guys at 60 and still have some stuff left over.
And also raises where some of the other players have gone. Lukaku, he's done, and he goes over to Rome, and it looked like it was a messy exit there. I'll ask you, Carmen, this first. Lukaku now going to Roma, and all the backlash it caused there. Do you think this is going to be a positive for his career, or do you think this is going to be adding more negativity?
Yeah, there hasn't been much positive to his career since early days. His 30th birthday didn't prove that he was growing better with age. That's for sure. Yeah, his time at Chelsea was not good. His time at Manchester United was mediocre. His second time at Inter was just okay. Now Roma, I think this is part of his rejuvenated.
Rejuvenated.
Yes. Yes.
Rejuvenated. Yes.
Yes. Correct. Thank you very little. So I think that this is a massive step for him. He's in a coach where he's familiar with him, who did very well by him, and I think that this is going to be definitely a positive for his career. But it's that step. What does Chelsea do with him after? Is Juventus still interested in buying him after this year? And I think that the Italian league and the way Mourinho plays and the familiarity between the two is going to be really good move for both parties. And Roma needs that right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, John, like Lukaku obviously hasn't been on the good side of all the headlines. A lot of people say he has underperformed for what he's been paid, and now he's going to Roma under Mourinho. They got Dybala, they have Belotti. Do you think this could help this whole dynamic there with Mourinho again?
Mourinho is going to want to be in charge of the whole thing the entire time. And if somebody steps out of line, the second they step out of line, you sit. You're not playing. You're going to sit. That literally, it is going to be Jose's way, or it's not going to work. And so anybody that goes in, I don't care what your pedigree is, anybody that steps into that situation, you're going to do things the way that Jose wants. If it means that you play more of a defensive posture and, you actually have to backtrack, then you're going to have to do that. So, Romelu Lukaku is persona non grata now in a lot of different places. You don't step out of line and try to have independent conversations with the way that fans feel about their franchises in Serie A. I mean, you don't step out of rank like that. And the responses were understandable. Of course, the responses where they were tracking his plane into Italy for the signing were also understandable. So it is going to be one of the more fun subplots going forward in Serie A. But You better do things Jose's way, or it's going to get over and get really bad really quick.
Yeah, Carmen, just on that, like he's gonna be playing with Belotti, Dybala. That looks like a front three combination, but this Roma team lost to Salernitana on the first game. Like, is this just a panic move to bring in Lukaku?
No. I think it's a tactical move. I don't think Belotti and obviously Dybala's kind of consistency and staying away from injury has been always questioned. I think that he's it's a good move. I think it's a good move, and Mourinho's adopted that sort of 3-1 4-2 system, and he'll have the ability to kind of reverse that and go into a 3-4-1-2 system with Dybala behind Belotti and Lukaku, and that could be a force to be reckoned with right there. So I think that tactically there's ways to adjust and readjust with the Lukaku, Dybala, Belotti, El Shawari. They have some stuff off the bench for sure, and I think that it's important for him. And Lukaku at Man United, he was okay with Mourinho. I mean, and if he gets the same productivity, and obviously expecting more, but it'll be very good at Serie.
And just speaking of other notable signings, I want to get John's opinion on this one. John Herdman leaving Canada.
Okay.
And he said that, like, this was a while ago, where he kind of challenged the players to, instead of going to MLS, go abroad to Europe, and guess he's not following that. He's going to MLS. So what did you think when John Herdman decided to leave the national team job and go to TFC?
I get it. I mean, considering all the conversations that we've had in the past about Herdman and the status of Canada soccer, I get why. I mean, after the match in Vegas, and for those that may have the subscription, Joshua Cloakey over at The Athletic has a good deep dive into this. And after Nations League in Vegas, Herdman sits on the dais for the press conference and basically lays into Canada soccer about needing to invest and all those kinds of things, which they need to do. And we've talked about that situation for quite some time. I get the why. I get why Herdman would want to jump, because if he doesn't feel that Canada soccer is investing or getting the investment to a level that he feels is acceptable, then I understand the level of frustration and wanting to jump to a club level gig. I mean, it was disclosed in the article that, Herdman wanted to do things his way and try to strong arm some things and get Nike involved, either Nike or Adidas, I forget which, but to the outfitter, to have an official outfitter outfit the Canadian team. But the deal that was put forth and that was agreed to was basically only free gear. There was no cash involved. It was free gear for the players. That's it. And that was what Herdman orchestrated, according to the Cloakey article. I get why you'd want to leave if you're frustrated. And we talked about Bill Manning, and we talked about MLSE. And if Bill Manning thinks that bringing in John Herdman is going to put butts in seats, which is what he said, he wanted to have Toronto be a hub for Canada soccer. He wanted to bring in John Herdman to bring butts in seats back to BMO. John Herdman has not coached at the club level. John Herdman has coached internationally. He has coached for national clubs. He has not coached at the club level in Major League Soccer. That, to me, is a red flag. And this is now going to be something where you've got to come up with a philosophy. And he takes over October 1st. He's going to be a part of the transition. He's taking over October 1st. He's got to come up with a philosophy. What that philosophy is, he's got to stick to it, and he can't just sit there and, whenever the wind blows differently off of Lake Ontario, he can't change his mind. You've got to come up with an idea. And if also Bill Manning thought or thinks, since we're still in a present tense, that bringing in John Herdman with what was disclosed in the article by Joshua Cloakey about not how every player wasn't a fan of John Herdman and what he was doing, emotionally, spiritually, rah-rah coaching or what have you, if he thought that he was going to be attracting Canadian talent to be a part of the growth of Major League Soccer, that might be another problem as well. Because once again, you're dealing with cap issues, you're dealing with all of the Major League Soccer rules of engagement. I don't know what you can do to bring all this stuff in. I know that you probably can get rid of Insigne, Bernadeschi, and open some things up. There are too many red flags here already for someone who has not coached at a club level. And so I'm intrigued. I want to see how all this plays out. But how much of a leash does John Herdman get in all of this as someone who hasn't coached at the club level? There you go.
Carmen,
I have more questions than answers.
Bob Bradley came in with all this experience, and he actually won before in MLS and just the national team. So he had that pedigree at the national level too. And he didn't really have as long as a leash as many people thought. So Carmen, when John Herdman comes in and he has this national experience, not at the club level, what do you think his status will be, and how much say he has?
I mean, I think it all depends on Bill Manning's status at TFC. I think this was his man. John Herdman was his man, and he didn't really hide the fact. And if Bill Manning and the new board, which is transitioning very soon, are going to be invested into his blueprint or his vision, then yeah, this could be a long-term solution. But I think it's kind of the river for Bill Manning, and is he going to hit on the river? So I mean, this is it right now. And there's and then this narrative and this story for me is getting old. It's been a long time about getting old, and I hope that the Canadian soccer perspective turns to more valuable things than all the rubbish and the stories that we hear. And I hope he does well, and he does well for Toronto, because it's a massive part of Canadian soccer, Toronto. And moving forward, I think that I'm wishing Mauro Biello the best of luck, and hopefully he kind of does enough in this Nations League to qualify for Copa Sudamerica to be a permanent fixture here, because Mauro Biello is exactly that. He's one of the staples in Canadian soccer. Did really well in the MLS. Did really well with a Montreal team that was very difficult circumstances. So this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to look at the things that are substantial or substance, rather than looking at all the bells and whistles and all the butts in the seats ideas. I just want to get back to the integrity part, and hopefully John Herdman brings that back to Toronto FC, and and hopefully everything goes status quo. Hopefully, hopefully all the question marks that everyone had about Bazbachenko and Greg Vanney, and how they answered it with ability and integrity, is the same way John Herdman answers it. And the kind of separation from the CSA was about time. It's I mean, as an individual or as a coach, I would never kind of blame external situations on what I have control over internally. So now you have a new gig. Good luck with it. And Canada, let's get back to thinking about the things that are important, the things that we can control, and football in this country, and what has happened, whether it happened, and John Herdman had a big reason for that, for sure. But I mean that I think that we need to move forward with this, and our infrastructure and our youth development. We need to take a look at all of that right now. And this one-off, or this one situation that happened, which was fantastic, a couple of years, we need to not pretend that there's not a lot wrong in our country, not only with the CSA, but in the infrastructure and the grassroots. So we need to take a long look at ourselves, and I hope that the CSA does look at the people in the trenches, because they've done a lot of work building this program to where it is. And there's a lot of people that they ignore and they put their noses up to that need to be heard. And hopefully CSB does that. And I think CSB is prudent and wise. And so far, they're everything they've done. So I'm tired of talking about this. Let's move on. Good luck to John Herdman. Congratulations to Terry Dunfield for getting his first win. And good luck to Mauro Biello. And hopefully we get back to those things those integral things that are important in Canadian soccer.
Were you teammates with Biello
I
during your time
Mauro
there?
Biello. I was teammates with him at Rochester in the old A-League days, at Rochester team where he was the pivotal player, and he had an incredible year. I mean, I was only there because Pat Allenstad was supposed to go to Scotland, and he got caught up into situations. After the new coach came in with Milwaukee, after we won the championship, I didn't have the greatest relationship with him, but my fault more than his. And then I got moved to Pat Erkley, and I have a good relationship, and I got moved into a great system and a great team. And Mauro Biello was probably the focal point of that team and was an incredible player, incredible quiet leader. And I think he was MVP that year. And that was the year where Rochester won the U.S. Open Cup, beating not 1, 2, 3, but 4 MLS teams at that time. But what a great experience for me. What a great little short period of time I had at Rochester with, and I think, Mauro and the likes of great characters like Scotty Schweitzer and all kinds of characters on that team at the time. Was just a fantastic experience.
All right, hold on, Giancarlo. Let me go in here. John, I'm going to go to you because Giancarlo, I know what he's going to say. Carmen, sit back in that room. Sit back. Your unofficial agent is talking. John, as you know, Giancarlo says...
If you're my agent, you're fired. You're
fired. You're relax. Listen, you can't fire the fire. Never mind. All right, John, let me ask you a question. Giancarlo always says he's the headmaster coach. He has trophies and all that. Let alone he should be hired for the Canadian men's national team job. All right. But why shouldn't his phone be ringing at least once with an opportunity? That's all I'm asking. John, tell me, is there a better guy for a phone call even, let alone the job, for a phone call? Carm, sit back, don't say anything. This is the Hall of Famer, John Freeman Nelson, in Atlanta, not in Canada, in Atlanta speaking. John, can you let us know?
Well, the first question should be, does Carm want the phone call? Would he answer if he took it?
Yes, he wants the phone call. He needs the phone call because his agent takes 20%.
Well, then that's the agent. The agent only takes 20%, man. You got a pretty decent agent because most of the time they take 25 to 30.
Yeah, but Nino D'Aversa free for my whole life.
Nino D'Aversa, that's free.
That's right. No, but honestly, like this guy, like Giancarlo always says, headmaster coach, and has all these, medals and trophies and all that. Not even a phone call, and he's coached all the players who played in the World Cup, or most of the players who played in Canada World Cup. He knows everybody personally. Yeah. Why isn't there a phone call being made?
That is a question for Canada Soccer. That should not be a question for Carmen Asako if he wants to.
I got a crank call at midnight the other day.
It was Giancarlo talking.
Whoever crank called me was talking about, hey, can you come watch my kid play? He plays for Simcoe, and they just beat us in the semifinal. And he'll be in the final. Can you come watch my kid play for York University?
John brought up a question. I already know the answer. But if your phone rang, would you even consider the job, Carm?
Listen, I've been involved with Canada Soccer at different levels at different times, and it's proud moments for me, and it's proud that I have a good relationship with a lot of players on that team. But I think Mauro Biello, and I think the transition is going to be important, and it's the best thing for Canada Soccer right now. And who knows, with CSB's influence, maybe Bobby Smirnos will be the next national team coach, because Scott Mitchell and CSB are also very invested, obviously, in what's happening in the CSA. And moving forward.
Quiet. I'm trying to get him a job. Quiet.
But obviously, I'd love to be part of it.
All right. See, John, he answered that question. All right. He answered that question. All right. And are you, and here, I'm going to ask you this, Carm. I'm going to ask you this. I know you're politically correct and all that, but I need the Italian blood flowing. All right. So here it is. Okay. Are you pissed off that your phone doesn't ring for these opportunities?
Pissed off. Yeah, life's too short to be angry at anything, my friend.
You're angry with Giancarlo every post show. What are you talking about?
I can only control the things you can control. If I go out and earn it and I do things to the best of my ability, it doesn't happen, oh well. As long as I can go to bed and look at myself in the mirror and say, did okay. And I also say you got a big nose. But that's okay. It's pride, Joe.
You need a haircut. You need a haircut. Come on.
I'm kind of tired of all the crap. Whatever happens. If it is there, and I want both worlds to move on. I want Toronto FC to be very successful because we need that in our country. We need that in our growth, and I want this national team to continue being successful, and players and administrators and look for the greater good right now. And that's easy for me to say behind a microphone or behind whatever a screen. But yeah, the greater good is something that we need to look back at and find out how we did that. And I asked the players to go back to their grassroots and their youth and their enthusiasm they had back then, and to not make that more important. Like, I mean, you watch Kamal Miller playing right now, and the passion and the sacrifice he's playing with at Inter Miami.
Messi will do that, brother. So you stay employed. Exactly right.
Doing it before Messi too, but that's the mentality and the attitude you need to have. All this other narrative, all these other rubbish that you have, all these other little sidebars or all these locker room issues that people talk about. You know what? Let's move on. Good luck to John Herdman in fixing this. Good luck to Mauro Biello, and you know, hopefully he has a long-standing relationship with the national program because he deserves it.
All right, so I'm gonna bow out, but before I bow out, Giancarlo, what day's today?
September 1st, Friday.
Yes, September 1st. You got it right. All right. September is the birthday month of Carmen Asako. Birthday September 20th. He turned 70 years old this year. All right, 70. We're going to have a big celebration. Nino D'Aversa, Giancarlo, take the $5 I'm going to give you. We get him at Nino D'Aversa. Maybe he could get a fries or something like that. But we're going to celebrate since his phone doesn't ring. He's going to get crank calls all month. All right. Carmen, are you ready to pick up the phone when you get crank calls?
I love the crank calls. Keep them coming.
All right. So I'm going to go off air right now. Watch your phone ring. All right, Giancarlo, take care of it.
On that note, John, I'll ask you about this because Carmen brought it up there. TFC got their first win under Terry Dunfield, and honestly, like, I don't know what to make of it. Like, there is a CNE going on, so who knows? Maybe some of the Philadelphia players were having some cheeseburger ice cream or deep fried Oreos, deep fried pizza, whatever they're offering.
Deep fried Oreos. See, you go to the CNE or you go to the Texas State Fair. Seriously, it is all about the deep fried material. Literally, it is all about the deep fried material. Deep fried Oreos, deep fried bananas, deep fried Snickers, all those kinds of things. Go hungry, eat a lot of the deep fried stuff, but tell your doctor ahead of time that you're going to do it. So when they see that your cholesterol level is jacked up, they know what happened. So, but I think that the Philadelphia players can handle it. I think that they can handle it.
Did you think that there was more into it? Like, did Toronto FC play well, or do you think Philadelphia underestimated what they were playing against?
No, I just, sometimes you're looking at schedule compression, you're looking at guys and rotation and things like that, and you're looking down the line at schedules and things like that. And so Insigne scores in the 23rd, then Carranza scores right before the half to make it 1-1, and then you get 2 goals in the second half to get your 3-1 win. But I mean, legitimately, I think that it's just one of those times where you're traveling, you're cross-border traveling, you're locked in, you're trying to sit there and figure out, okay, how am I going to get to this match and everything? I think it was just one where you had this harmonic convergence of ideas, and it ends up with a Toronto win. And I know a lot of folks in the Eastern Conference who were thanking Toronto FC for that win because that kept Philly as a part of that pack from 2-7, which is where things are right now.
And also, like, with Philadelphia, I know we always say, like,
Don't lock
Cobra
yourself
Kai.
out of the room. Don't lock yourself out of the room, Carm.
I hope he has a key.
Yeah, I hope he didn't lock himself out of that. That'd be odd.
Somebody crank call them. Somebody crank call them.
No. It was he's controlling the chaos about what's. All right.
Hey, here the new Guyana coach for the women's team just walked in. It's like soccer show.
A cameo here.
You know, that's how Carm gets 30% of the fee.
No, they can't touch anything. Let's get out.
Yeah.
Now we have arguments between coaches. That's great. We have coaches arguing with each other now.
No, we're done. It's all. We've known each other for over 30 years, 35 years. It's all good.
So on that note, just Philadelphia, like, I know I joke about, like, Cobra Kai and all that, but this team at the end of that red card goes in, kicks him after he loses the ball, sacrificed the foul. The jersey even has, I think, a snake on it too.
Yeah.
What are they doing there?
Bueno. Yeah. Well, no, that's part of the whole thing back in 1776, Giancarlo, long before you were born, about the whole thing about freedom for the United States, live free or die, those kinds of things. Yeah, I don't know if you've caught that part of American history where you are in high school right now, but no, it's all part of being Philadelphia and all part of U.S. history. That's where the snake comes from. That's from live free or die. That's from when we were trying to separate ourselves from the crown. That's what we were trying to do. So that's why that's a part.
Ironically enough, at University.
Oh no!
Oh, he hit the wrong button. Yep, yeah, duck out, duck back in. But no, but that's Philadelphia. I mean, Philadelphia tries to drag you into the mud and plays that kind of a match. That's just how they're wired. And the fact that Bueno got that red at 90+5, I want to say. No, and the thing about playing Philly is that you have to match them. First off, with their shenanigans, you have to match Philly, and it looks like Toronto did that. Philadelphia, if they have a lead in the 50th minute, all of a sudden, you know, they're grabbing hamstrings, they're sitting down, they're doing all their things, and they're trying to, you know, CONCACAF their way out of a match. If they're trailing, what they're going to try and do is drag you down into the mud with them. And props to Toronto FC for not dragging themselves down into the mud in that match where if you do not have a center ref that understands what that center ref and that crew are getting into going up against Philly, you're in for a long night. And it looks like Toronto persevered pretty well.
Carmen, what'd you make of just a performance, Bernadeschi, Insigne, and Terry Dunfield getting that win? Because I'm sure this was a big one for him, especially all the negative results they've had and just his coaching staff.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, I thought the performance was very good. I thought you know, they did it mostly with the ball. They played a very strong Philadelphia team. Their mentality was good. I think that's all the great goals. Osario's great diving header, great action. You know, Insigne actually getting into the box and not standing outside waiting for things to happen. So all that stuff was all positive. I think, you know, taking it to the next game is important. I think for the whole, again, I'll use that word, the whole greater good, right? The end to this season is very important. I think that, again, the Bernadeschi's and the Insignes should be just tired of dealing with things that they can't control and just be out there and be good pros. Be good pros. Like you look at the kid Kobe Franklin. I mean, I know it's hunger, but the kid's a good pro. Like, is he the best player in the MLS? No, but he's a good pro. He works hard. He does the simple things well, and I think that Insigne and Bernadeschi need to have that mentality and grow from there. Osorio, right? You know, He's been hurt. He's had issues, but now he looks in fine form. Finished the season properly. So not only, you owe it. Everyone owes it to those 22,000, 30,000 fans that come every day. I mean, yeah, there's a kind of indebtedness to these players, to these fans, because and then they haven't shown that except for last game. So, and I don't think that I think that that's been Terry's message throughout it. And I think that I don't think that he's done a bad job whatsoever. I think it's been the mentality and the attitude of what it is to be a professional, and it's just been a cloud of crap over everyone. And you know what? If you're Bernadeschi, you're still Bernadeschi, and Senior and Osorio, you're still these players, right? So be those players at your best is what we haven't seen until Philly game. So good on them, but can they continue with a proper mentality, and can they continue defining what professional people are supposed to be, professional players are supposed to be?
Agree. And we'll go on to Atlanta, who schedule compression wasn't too kind. It showed just their last game. They were 2-1 in this stretch. John, what did you see of Atlanta's performances and just that 2-1 loss there?
Didn't get the second goal. I mean, you got the first goal on the board. And honestly, earlier, a couple of minutes before, had the free kick from Thiago Almada been maybe what is that? What is that, about 4 inches? 4 inches to the right from 30 yards out, it would have been 2-0 at the half, and it would have been over, because you would have had that goal go in, and then you would have had the Mosqueda goal go in, I think 4 or 5 minutes later. And it would have been 2-0 at that point. Unfortunately, the Almada free kick goes off the post from 30, and Celentano was beaten, absolutely was beaten. It was perfect, except it needed to be about 4 inches to the right. Then Mosqueda with the slam dunk from basically the penalty spot made it 1-0, but you didn't get that second goal. And, what we were talking about with Philadelphia, Cincinnati being kind of Philadelphia light with some more scoring talent, with Costa and Brandon Vasquez and Sergio Santos and Yuya Kubo. You could sense that, Cincinnati, like I said, Cincinnati, if they're trailing, they will drag you back into their game. It's not quite Philly where it's fouling, hacking, falling down kind of a thing, but they want to go and they want you to dribble the ball. They want you to dribble, like Diego De La Torre said after the match. And Cincinnati took Atlanta United out of their game. Atlanta United in the second half defended far more than they would have liked, and Cincinnati gets the one goal on the board. There was also a goal that was pulled off the board by center ref Armando Villarreal, who subset was awful, closed parentheses. Now I'm going to continue. But then Cincinnati gets the goal from Lucho Acosta, great pinpoint passing. Santos, top of the 18, heads it down. Acosta splits 2 defenders, smashes it in. Vasquez scores 5 minutes later. But that was the thing. Cincinnati took you out of your game. You did not get the second goal. It was 3 goals, 3 matches in 11 days, and now they're having to head to Dallas tomorrow. But they said, meaning Diego De La Torre after the match, he said that the schedule compression didn't mean anything. It was that they got taken out of their own game by Cincinnati. Kudos to Cincinnati for doing that. You learn from it. You've proved that you could take Cincinnati, that you could take a lead against Cincinnati at home, the Eastern Conference leaders right now. They're now 11 points clear in the East, and you wonder when Cincinnati might be doing some roster rotation for matches to kind of make sure that they're as healthy as they can be going into the postseason. But I think a lot of folks looked at the match ahead of that Cincinnati match, the 4-0 win, where they absolutely smashed Nashville. And it reminded a lot of folks of the offense that they'd had in years past, where it literally was like the squadron in Top Gun Maverick, where literally it's like turn, go, turn, go, turn, go. And you saw that with Muyumba, Shande Silva, Sabalob Janidze, who is now in from the Turkish league, and a healthy Yorgos Yakimakis. That's what folks were looking at in that Nashville game. Cincinnati, you learn from that one. You go to Dallas, where it's going to be 7,000 degrees Saturday night, and it will be a test for both teams.
And Carmen, what have you seen out of Atlanta and even Cincinnati? I think Cincinnati, I don't know if everybody had them at the top of the table. I know that everyone had them maybe in the mix there, but what have you seen out of them this season?
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati's been consistent in their approach to things. They're consistent in their whether it's a defensive action or an attacking action, they seem to complete it. The transition of the losing of both, they've been very organized in the defensive side and the attacking side, and they kind of complete actions, meaning they don't get caught in transition. They don't get caught in numbers up or down. I think it's been a very solid group, very compact and narrow group, and they've got some really good footballers too that have been very good for them too. So I think those things, in a nutshell, are good. And I think their goal is to win that Community Shield, to get that spot in the CONCACAF Champions League. So I think that's important for them as well. And I mean, we all get lost in the bells and whistles of the MLS Cup, but I think that there's a lot of side stories that are very important. We talk about Leagues Cup, and we talk about the Open Cup, and we talk about winning the Community Shield to get into those lucrative spots in the international stage. And I think that that's their goal right now. That's their focus right now, and they've just been machines, and very efficient in action at everything they do.
And just a final topic here, Carmen. It looks like it's a busy day for you. When's the season start? And
when do you yell at more coaches
and players?
Today we're off to Laurier in about I don't know, an hour. Just having their pregame meal right now, and then we play back at home at YLS Sunday, I believe, afternoon game. So it should be really pleasantly 40 degrees for those games on Sunday.
What's mood around the team? Are you expecting another championship? Championships, because there's men and women's team?
A lot of work to do, a lot of good talent out there, both on the men's and the women's side. And we lost a lot on the women's side for sure, and we're kind of going through a transition on the men's side, added some players as well. So, and first games of the season, you always have to be at your best because of, the hunger and the mentality of your opposition. And you're always wearing that target on your shirt. So, yeah, we're looking forward to good performances. We're looking forward to the idea of composure and breaking teams down and dealing with moments and intensity and the intensity of the moments.
Did that League One season help you, or do you think that,
the final, everyone get to the final? I believe the final is on, oh my gosh, it's Simcoe versus Scorsopi, who, have invested a lot of time and money and energy in their teams. And congratulations to both of them to getting to the final. Jason Beckford, former colleague at Vaughan, still a good friend, and John Yaku, who's done a great job with Scorsopi, and a lot of familiar names in both groups. So good luck to both of them. Make sure that we get support there at the soccer center. Again, I apologize. I believe it's a Sunday evening game. Should be some great talent on the slate. So get there. Get there for the games, and we'll see what we'll see a lot of players that are going to be involved in the future.
And John, what's it look like for you this weekend? Are you calling any games?
Oh yeah, it is a massively busy weekend. Start things off in MLS Next Pro Saturday afternoon at 5. Pregame show at 1:15 on the SDH network and soccerdownhere.net as the penultimate home match in the regular season for Atlanta United 2 as they take on FC Cincinnati 2. That'll be on the network at 5 o'clock. And then after that, it's a full day with Atlanta United. After that, 8 o'clock, Jason Longshore, Mike Conti, live from Frisco, Texas, 8 o'clock pregame Eastern time, 8:39 kick, Atlanta United and FC Dallas. And then after that, It is the unified match with Jason and Joe Freihofer, who is my tag team partner on home match games. And so it is the unified match against FC Dallas after Atlanta United and FC Dallas. So you start your day at 4:45 Eastern time with Atlanta United 2. 8 o'clock, go to 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app for Dallas and Atlanta United. HAOUTD.com after that for the unified game. So it's a full Saturday. And Oglethorpe Stormy Petrels women's soccer on Sunday afternoon.
Giancarlo, what is it like for you this weekend?
Nino Diversa.
TFC and just going all out, I guess.
That's right. So, Carmen, who's better than you, baby?
Nobody.
Huh? Oh, are you doing the
What is your annual Labor Day look like, Carmen?
I'll be on the field. We'll be doing tonight. We play.
No, Monday.
Friday.
Monday. I'm talking Monday. Are you going to stay at home and watch Oski Wee Wee, Oski Wawa, eat them raw? The Argos beating Hamilton again.
York United on Monday.
Yes, York United versus Halifax in Halifax, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Vaughan. Yeah, they're in Vaughan.
And by the way, that game that Carmen was talking about is Sunday night at 7 p.m. All right? So it is Sunday at 7 p.m. All right. John, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you.
I'm going to leave first. I'm going to tell John to stop crank calling me because I don't at midnight, although I get a good laugh, stop crank calling me and have a good long weekend. God bless.
All right. Take care, Carm.
Carm's out the door, as he should be. He's got a road trip to get ready for. Easiest ways on the Twitters right there, at OSG Nelson. Don't forget to download the Soccer Down Here app, available iOS and Android. Also, the OSG Sports app, available iOS and Android. Book number 6 right there, Noble Strong Lessons in Destiny. You can do that. Do a John Nelson search or Amazon.com for Noble's Strong. You can pick that up. Great story about a great family in a small town chasing after a championship as they were facing after one of the toughest challenges they would ever face, and how the town wrapped themselves around that family. So very, very cool stuff right there. Book 7 and 8 being planned, but that is book 6 on Amazon right now.
Right now. All right, Giancarlo, go ahead. Tell everybody how they could get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, John_411, Instagram, Giancarlo_Lino. Check out my articles on firedupnetwork.ca at sportskeeda.com. And if you're in Toronto, check out my interviews on Vibe 105.
All right, and stay tuned for more great programming here on the Fired Up Network. Thank you to Carmen, John Freeman Nelson, and Giancarlo Lino. Have a great long weekend, everybody.
So long.